For today's Monday message, I'm going to continue what I talked about yesterday in the children's time about the Psalm 98 Praise Challenge and read here the beginning first 2 verses and then the final 3. Psalm 98. Sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm have worked salvation for him. The Lord has made his salvation known and revealed his righteousness to the nations. Let the sea resound and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. Let the rivers clap their hands and let the mountains sing together for joy. Let them sing before the Lord, for he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness and the people with equity. The word of the Lord, thanks be to God. And that version was in the NIV, so different than what Michelle Gotke read us yesterday from the NRSV a little bit. This psalm calls us to praise for the foundational story of God's redeeming work among the people. And what you might miss in hearing that psalm for a first time is that there are references to the Exodus throughout. So the marvelous thing, the right hand, the holy arm are all references that come straight from words in Exodus. So this psalm is telling the story about God's redeeming work among the people as the foundational place for their gratitude and for their call to respond with their voices in praise, and then to join all of creation, who is also clapping the hands of waters and hills singing together for joy. And one of the things that I really love about this psalm is it's calling us to think bigger, with a bigger vista, from a higher view than we tend to think about how God is at work for the salvation of God's people, for the redemption and restoration, for the reconciliation of the whole world, but that sometimes it is very, very hard to see that, particularly when we are just going through the motions of a day or in a season where we're a little bit more turned in towards ourselves. But if we could have that view of what God sees, it would be humanity joining praise and gratitude to God, but with all of creation doing that as well. I have trees outside of my window right now, and I like to think about the trees of the fields clapping their hands as we hear about in Isaiah, or the creation joining us in the praise of God. And as I mentioned in the children's sermon yesterday, to be very specific about what it is that we want to give God gratitude for. At the beginning of the psalm, it's a specific part of the story of God being with the Israelites, and oftentimes that's the foundation for our gratitude as well. The specific places where God has worked for us in terms of our healing, our hope, our redemption, and has looked towards our good, particularly in the middle of something that has felt very dark to us. And so the more that we can thank God for those stories, I think the more we're likely to see those stories also. And the more we raise our voices in joy and praise, the more likely those are to be part of who we are. They'll be more centered in us. If the more we do it, the more we become it. Maybe another way to say it. So if we ask the kids to do a Psalm 98 challenge on Sunday, we'll ask all of us to do it on Monday, to take some time today and to praise God and to be specific for ways that you have seen God at work in your life and to share that gratitude. And maybe it will be in a poem or a song or an instrument or some reading that you do. But take that time to share with God your praises and your joy. Go in peace. Take care.